Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Radio Row. And right now we are joined by Super Bowl champion, 9-time Pro Bowler, Hollywood handsome Mike Haynes. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Take us into the jitters that go through a man getting ready or the night before a Super Bowl.
Well, it's been a while since I've played a Super Bowl, but I doubt that I had jitters. If anything, the night before the Super Bowl, I'm playing back everything in my mind that could happen. Like all the different situations that we could be in, or they could be in, or offense could be in, and how the other team is going to respond. And believe it or not, there have been times when I'd be laying in bed, after bed check, and then I think of a situation that I didn't have a solution for, and I'd have to call one of the assistants and say, "Hey, man, I need that film on that 3rd and 8 situation," and they would get it for me,
Wow.
But in terms of the jitters, I didn't. I would have had the jitters if I didn't have wasn't able to see that play that I was kind of concerned about. That might have created the jitters for me. But for the most part, I might have had trouble sleeping, but I wouldn't call that the jitters. It was just, things going through my head about the game.
It's interesting now, folks, to be here picking the brain of one of the greatest DBs in our game's history, and we're on the verge of seeing one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, go against the young rising star. So, preparing for each guy. How different would that be, preparing to go against Brady versus Mahomes? And who would you rather face?
Good question, actually. In the Super Bowl right now, with their experience, I mean, I would I like challenges, and I'd say that both of these guys would be great challenges for me. Tom Brady is not. I feel like he is not going to be a huge risk taker, So, but I feel like Mahomes will be a risk taker, and that's the difference between the two guys to me. And Mahomes he'll extend the play because he's got good legs, and I assume his toe is not hurting him anymore.
Won't be hurting that day.
Yeah, and for a defensive back, that is the toughest thing. Like, the guy's supposed to run an out route, and he runs the out, and the ball doesn't come, and now he can go anywhere,
Right.
And you got to run and follow this guy. And so sometimes, when they're not, they run the out and the play falls apart, the coaches tell them, just go deep, but some places they tell them to go across,
Yeah.
So, you have to study a lot of film, try to figure out what they're going to do in those situations. But I would have to have my A game for sure for Tom Brady, because he has seen it all. And he might be one of those guys who stays up at night thinking about a defensive back and saying, I'm going to pick on this guy or this guy,
Right.
I'm going to study this guy. So if I get in this situation, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go to him. So I don't know. Mahomes is also super great quarterback. And, Andy Reid, he went to my high school. So he's from Los Angeles, and I've gotten to know him and his wife, Tammy, over the years. And he's a student of the game too. So, you have him helping Mahomes with his decision making. It's going to be interesting, but I would love to be playing against either one of those two guys.
And the weapons, Mike. I mean, we were talking about the quarterbacks, the weapons. These guys got state-of-the-art tight ends. They've got game-breaker wide receivers. The defensive backs are going to have the work. This is going to be a tale of which defense steps up, I think.
Yeah, and I would just be shocked if this was a 14-7 game.
Yeah,
I'd be absolutely shocked. I just do not see anything like that. Both teams have all the great weapons. They can run, they can pass. They both have great quarterbacks. They both have good coaching. They both have great special, everything. Yeah. So it's going to be a real good game. Real good game.
Absolutely,
no question.
Now, as a man who your sons are great athletes, and when guys are now coming out of the league or going into the league minimums now sets them about $1 million for the last guy on the bench of these NFL teams. What's a piece of advice you give young folks when they're managing their finances, getting paid for the first time?
Anticipate your future. Think about your future. Most guys in my era, we thought we'd play football, pro football, maybe 4 or 5 years or something like that. We also thought that we'd probably die at around 55 or something like that, and today, I'm already 67, and I'm like thinking, I want to live to be 125. And so if I'm thinking long term, then I really have to manage my money differently. But if you think, hey, 30's old, I'm going to live my life, I'm going to live rich and high, and for the first few years of my life, and then whatever happens, that's, I try to encourage guys to think about not only their future, but their children's future. And to think really long term, think about their family, the impact they can have on their community. Not everybody wants to do that, but for the guys who do, hopefully they'll make better decisions. And be an owner of a company, be an owner of a business, and try to teach your kids how to be owners of businesses. And that's the American dream, right? People come from all over the world, come here to find their dream and get their business started. But a lot of people who are here, they always think about working for someone else. And I try to encourage the players to be an example for, they may not know it, but there's a whole bunch of people watching their lives. And there's a whole bunch of people that want to know what they're going to do after football. And so to manage that, and just find yourself a good manager, find somebody that they really feel comfortable talking with. If they're lucky, they might be able to find a former football player to help with those decisions. There's enough of them out there now who are in that financial industry that have gone through what they're going through, that can really help them. And just take your time. Don't be in a rush to spend your money. Put it in a safe place and get smart by asking questions and meeting people who are doing some of the things that you want to try. And don't feel like there's a rush. Like I said, I want to live to be 125. So they've got plenty of time. They don't have to try and make the money in 3 or 4 years while they're playing football. They can make it after football.
Right. Now we got this two sides of a coin game we're playing. So we'll start with this one. What was the worst investment or purchase you ever made that you look back to on this day and say, man, I wish I could get that money back?
Well, I'd say the one that I'm most embarrassed about is I met a guy who could get me a Mercedes Benz for real cheap because he's getting it in Europe, and it doesn't have all of the California standards on the car and all that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of a way to beat the system, get a good car like that really cheap. And so I paid the guy. I never saw the guy again. So that was a big lesson, big lesson. I thought I was going to be pulling one over on people, and he pulled it over on me.
I got burned that same way. My first car, I tried to find a car in Western Union. They told me they're going to ship it from England, and I Western Unioned over that money. Goodbye. So now let's go positive. Let's go positive now. Let's say, what's the best investment you ever made? Best money ever spent?
On real estate. It's been the best every single time, even in tough times and good times, bad times. It's been the best, and it just goes up in value. And had I known what I know now, I would have even bought more. I would have bought in, more like apartments and things like that. There's so many guys out there now. And guys, when I say guys, I really mean guys and girls. Sorry, ladies, who have so much history and smarts about investments. And so really you just got to seek out those people, and, and just, if they went to college, and I believe every single person in the National Football League went to college, they have a school that kind of feels like they would love to help their student, especially a guy who played at their school. So you can always go back there and talk to the dean of the school and tell them some of the things you're interested in doing. And that dean will probably introduce you to some other teachers, or maybe the dean might even want to help you. So you're not alone. You got all kind of resources, and anybody that makes poor decisions is not using their resources. When I did that deal with the car, I didn't go to anybody. I just thought, hey, I'm gonna do this, today I would encourage a guy to run that idea by someone at the Players Association, or someone even at the club where he's playing, somebody in their finance department there. There's a lot of people that want to see these guys be successful and making good decisions. And just got to be aware of that and reach out to those and use them.
Folks, save those pennies. And you know what, Mike? I don't think we're going to see that number 0 on the scoreboard at all this weekend.
Oh, no way. There's no way. And that would be, I think if we did, everyone would be bummed, that would just be the world's worst game. I mean, can you imagine if Mahomes and Brady both get knocked out of the game?
Oh my God. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
Oh man, we want to see, folks, a high electric bill for that Tampa stadium there, and we want to see the scoreboard working all night. That's what we want to see over here. So what's your final prediction? You got a score prediction for this game and a winner?
Well, I always root for the AFC.
Yeah.
My entire career I spent in the AFC, and with the Patriots and the Raiders. And the only time I rooted for the NFC to win a Super Bowl was when New Orleans was in there, and this was right after Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
And I had been down to New Orleans, and I saw the devastation and what the situation was there. And I knew that those folks needed something positive, something to root for, to feel good about. And I rooted for New Orleans, and they came through and won.
That was magical. That was a magical
that
game.
was a great game and a great situation for the country, really. You like to see people overcome these situations, and when they need a little bit of hope, you love to see them have that.
Yeah.
So for this game, I think it's going to be high scoring. I think that both teams will score, and you really can't look at the first half and think, oh, well, that's going to be a low scoring game, because the second half they still have the same ability to score. I'd say it's going to be definitely total scores of this game will be over 50 for sure.
Whoa, we're ready.
Yeah.
We are ready. So we're leading Chiefs over 50 points total, folks. It's going to be a barn burner. That's all we got to say about that. The cannons will be blasting in Tampa Bay.
Absolutely. And it's going to be, I just hope and pray that both quarterbacks stay healthy, their weapons stay healthy, and they get through this game, and the best team wins. And so, of course, I want to see Mahomes do really, really well. Tom Brady, I said he was the best quarterback in the National Football League a long time ago, and before that, I always said it was Joe Montana.
Wow.
But he passed Joe Montana, and, all these guys are great. And I just think that Tom Brady he's one of these guys that had something to prove when he came into the league. And he was very positive. You got to give a lot of credit to his parents for having, their son with such a strong mindset, positive mindset, that even though he wasn't starting, even though he wasn't the main guy, he wasn't pouting and kicking over trash cans and throwing his helmet around. He was just continuing to improve and work on his skills. And when that moment came, he took full advantage of it. And it's a great example that's what I love about sports. That's what I love about, in particular, football. It's life, and you can use it and for the guys who have played the game, even if it's just flag football, they can relate to all of the situations that guys have. And you can understand the importance of offense and defense, having a game plan. It's embarrassing for a guy to come into the game as a defensive back, and I don't know anything about this guy. How could I not know anything about this guy?
Right, do your homework, kid.
Week. I had an entire week to figure him out, But the starter gets hurt, and then another guy comes in and going, well, shoot. Well, I got to be ready for anybody that comes in. And so even though sometimes you play against some teams where the guy on the left stays on the left and the guy on the right stays on the right. They never switch. Well, what if they do switch? Well, I have to be ready for that, you know? And so that's kind of what you learn in football. And it's all these metaphors you can use for life, you know? It's why I like sports, and it's why I really love pro football.
Absolutely. Folks, whether you're on the football field or the field of life, stay ready, stay prepared, so you could be the one delivering the hits. You heard it here from the best, folks. Mr. Hall of Fame, Mike Haynes. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to visit us.
Well, thank you, Charlie. You're doing a great job, and I hope somebody's life was affected by your show.
Yeah, nobody get burned on buying a European car online. I
don't want to hear any more of those stories.
No
more of those stories. Yeah.